Alright, I'm ready to talk about this shit now. Episode 6 is come and gone. Blood of my blood, and what do you know? It wasn't bad. I mean, obviously there were some pretty stupid and shitty parts in there, but all in all, this was a decent episode of Game of Thrones, and I wonder why. So we start off with Bran, recovering from what happened at the end of the last episode, which I watched the inside the episode afterwards, and I think it was David Benioff. He said the words after Hodor's heroic sacrifice.
Hodor's heroic sacrifice.
Which gave me pause. He sees what happened last week as Hodor's heroic sacrifice, whereas I saw it as a terrible sacrifice and murder on Bran's part, who, took control of Hodor's mind and body, forcing him to stay behind and sacrifice his own life. That seemed like a pretty dark scene to me, but apparently it's just a heroic sacrifice in David's eyes. But I guess to each his own. So, Bran and Mira are about to be killed by the whites attacking them when Benjen saves the day. Or is he Cold Hands? Or are they the same person? Fuck if I know. And right before that happens, we see some visions that Bran gets. Now, you can look all around the internet. I'm sure there's dozens of videos on YouTube, breaking down each individual frame of Bran's vision and talking about what each one means. I'll just say it was fucking cool. We saw the Mad King for the first time. We saw Jaime kill him. We saw Jaime sitting on the Iron Throne, which that was just, dark and incredible. And it's crazy that we got to see that. I never thought we would be able to see that, and that was freaking cool. Now, just the only thing I'll mention is that I remember specifically we see the wildfire underneath King's Landing all blowing up. And I'm not the, most reliable source of information on the lore of Westeros, but to my knowledge, there's never been a major explosion like that in King's Landing. That's what was supposed to happen. That's what King Aerys wanted to happen. Is that what Bran was seeing? Was Bran seeing what would have happened had Jaime not killed Aerys? Or is Bran seeing the future? Is that how King's Landing will eventually end? Will there be an explosion of the wildfire? I guess we'll have to wait and see. Now, Benjen being back, some people are going to have problems with that, but, I say it's its own version. It's fan fiction, as we learned this week at Baltimore Comic-Con.
Continue to be opposed to fan fiction because it's copyright infringement. HBO, of course, gets around this by paying me large dump trucks full of money.
So we can let the fan fiction be fan fiction, and whether we get Benjen back in the books or not, that remains to be seen. I won't stress too bad about it. And next we get Sam, which for the most part was a really good scene, really good segment until the end, but we'll get to that. First of all, what I really liked was very subtle, and something that you won't get from Dave and Dan's writing, but something that we do get from Brian Cogman, who's, by all means, this was a fantastic episode by Game of Thrones standards. We talked to Sam's sister, and she quickly mentions that she doesn't like that she's being forced to marry someone, and then she's hushed up by her mother. That's just like, a pretty quick but effective moment showing how little power women in this world have. And that's just it was just really dark. Like, for a moment, I empathized with that chick, just being told you have to marry someone and not even being allowed to complain about it. That was just dark, and that was pretty cool. And then the dinner scene was pretty well done. I don't think they could have cast a better person as Randall Tarly. He's as big of an asshole as you would come to expect. And Sam's getting talked down to. Gilly stands up for him, mentioning that he killed a Thenn, killed a White Walker. That was pretty sweet. I was actually hoping Sam would stand up to his dad, but that's not true to his character. Sam isn't strong enough to stand up to his dad yet, but I'm glad Gilly did. And then we get to that ending where Sam decides to ruin everything he's done, everything that he built and did all that work for, and steals Heartsbane. Why? Why did Sam steal Heartsbane when he's going to the Citadel? A place where he'll never need a sword, ever? Sam that's just the stupidest possible thing he could have done. It makes no sense. Randall knows where you're going, Sam. He can follow you. He is more than willing to kill you. He's threatened to kill you multiple times. And you steal his most prized possession for literally no reason. Now this just reeks of Dave and Dan. This doesn't make any sense for the character itself. And it's just, bullshit. And then we go on to King's Landing, and by far my favorite thing to happen this season. Because when you think about it, it just makes sense. When things make sense in a TV show, the viewer is satisfied. I spent a full day, theorizing about what was going to happen in the show. Was there going to be a big battle? Was the High Sparrow going to be killed? Was the Sept going to be burned down? Are the people going to rise up after they see their church be destroyed by the Lannisters? And in the end, none of that happened, but, part of what I was thinking did make sense. The High Sparrow waited for the Lannisters and the Tyrells to come up and attack, making them the villains, and then he just lets Marjorie go. And that was just brilliant. That's exactly what this show character would do. Now, who knows what's going to happen in the books? Who fucking knows? You can't make any predictions, any connections based on what happens in the show. But for the show's logic, for the story that we've been given, everything that we've been shown, all the characters that were present, this is what they would naturally do. Nothing was forced in this scenario. This made sense, and the payoff was excellent. We now have a new King Baelor, except incesty. Well, I guess Baelor wasn't incest. So, yeah, we just have a new King Baelor. And we're reinformed that there will be a trial by combat, and the Mountain will be Cersei's champion. So, Clegane Bowl confirmed. Like, I'm not even gonna... I had a couple sentences. I was gonna throw around some jokes, but no. Clegane Bowl confirmed. It's going to happen in the show. I can't even imagine it not happening in the show. The books, Gravedigger, completely different story, but as of now, Clegane Bowl confirmed either this season or very early next season. And Jaime is being sent to the Riverlands to do what he should have done last season. And I find it very interesting that the Blackfish retook Riverrun. Who did he take it from? The Riverrun never fell. I really don't understand. But yeah, the Blackfish has Riverrun, which makes sense. And looks like we're going right back on the book storyline with this, except Brienne's gonna be there, because we saw in the trailers. So it's gonna be Jaime and Brienne and Podrick versus the Blackfish, or is the Blackfish on their side? Whose side is anyone on? Who knows? The Riverlands is a mess right now. They mentioned the Brotherhood Without Banners. The Brotherhood Without Banners still exists, with no Lady Stoneheart. Is Beric still around? Are we going to see them some point? Who knows? And then to end the episode, we get another Daenerys jerk-off scene, which I mean, it was good, I suppose. It really did have echoes of Drogo's speech back from season 1, when Jason Momoa fucking went ape shit and started yelling and screaming in Dothraki about how they're gonna rape and destroy everything in Westeros. Pretty awesome, but it remains to be seen how all this is going to work, because with Jorah gone and with Tyrion in charge, in an open battle, in an open field, Westerosi knights would slaughter Dothraki horse lords. That's just a fact. We've seen it time and time again. It's just a matter of fact. But yeah, I really don't see the need for Daenerys to have all of these, jerk-off scenes where it's just Daenerys is beautiful and powerful and she's gonna come kill everyone. Like, we've been teasing that for several seasons. Like, they keep reminding us, like, it's gonna happen, we promise it's gonna happen, but it just doesn't happen. And we don't need this much reminding of how beautiful and awesome Daenerys is. We get it, she's amazing. We don't need a reminder every 2 episodes. Last thing I'm going to talk about is the Arya plot. Now, before I say anything, I have not read the Mercy chapter of The Winds of Winter. I actually haven't read any of the preview chapters because, I want to read them when the book comes out. So, if you guys could be kind enough not to mention what happens in the Mercy chapter, I would be appreciative, but I'm not going to stop you. So Arya is, tasked with killing the actress who plays Cersei, but before she can, they have a one-on-one conversation, and Arya realizes she's a good person and she doesn't want to kill her. So in the end, Arya botches the assassination because she decides her morality is more important than her bloodlust. But before that happens, I want to mention that scene where we see the chick who's playing Sansa behind the chick who's playing Cersei mouthing the words, and we realize that she's the one who hired Arya to kill the woman. That was fucking intense, dude. That was, like, dark and effective, and that goes to both the writer, Brian Cogman, and the director, Jack Bender. That was just a good shot. That good a shot, without saying any words, gets the point across, and gets the point across deep. That was good. So after Arya botches the assassination, she runs away, and we see a scene where the waif wants to kill Arya, and Jaqen says, sure, go ahead. Which, gives each of them, like, an identity. Like, they're very clearly not no one, which is kind of weird. Like, a person, like, the waif, is the waif a faceless man? Like, we would assume she is, but she kind of just, like, says, I want to kill Arya. Like, she's very vindictive and very, emotional and angry and not at all, like detached, no one, faceless man like, which is very odd. Maybe they'll explain it, probably won't. So that's how the episode ends. Those are my thoughts on the episode. Solid, had some really fucking good scenes in King's Landing and at that play, but overall, it had those two deterrents. It had that needless Daenerys jerk-off scene and the complete and utter jump in logic of Sam stealing Heartsbane. Didn't make a lick of fucking sense. But beggars can't be choosers, We wanted a good episode, we got a good episode. Let's see if they can keep it up. See you next week, guys. Keep moving forward.